Hey, y'all, you listen to the Gary Owen podcast. Hashtag Get Some. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. You can listen to this on iTunes. Just search Gary Owen, hashtag Get Some, or you can watch it on YouTube. My YouTube page is youtube.com/GaryOwenCom. Recording this from Timeless Recording Studios in Cincinnati, Ohio. You can follow them at @TimelessRStudio. A few things I want to talk about today. Just got done eating lunch. I got this spot in Cincinnati, man. And when I tell you, when I see people that say they don't have a job, when I see people that be like, there's no work out there and they can't, and they asking people for money instead of getting their own money. There's this place I go to in Cincinnati. It's just called the Taco Shop. It's literally a trailer next to a car wash. And it's this Mexican dude, man. Authentic Mexican, too. You don't get that a lot in the Midwest like this. Like his tamales, his tacos. There's no cheese and nothing like that. No extra stuff. It's just straight, authentic Mexican food. But he's got this trailer, and then he, like, framed out this tent that sits in front of the trailer. And I never seen nothing like it. Like, you just drive by it, you think it's like one of them food trucks almost. But it's the best tacos in Cincinnati. And I every time I go there, I post it on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter. And I got talking to the guy that started this taco shop, and he was just like, yeah, everybody said my tamales was good and my tacos was good, so I just did it on my own. And I'm just like, and he found a spot next to a car wash. Like, I don't know. When I see guys like that, I'm just like, okay, where there's a will, there's a way. Anyways, best tacos in Cincinnati. I just want to give him a shout out, even though I didn't really give him a shout out, but it's called the Taco Shop. Oh, so good. They don't even want to charge me when I go there. Like, no, you always pump us. You're good. I'm like, man, I wish every restaurant I could just say good things about and I get free food, because I'd be talking about steakhouses all day. Right now is a slow time to be a sports fan. Because, training camp just started with football. Basketball, there's some signings going on, but all the big signings have already happened. Baseball, it's getting to that point in baseball where you kind of know who's going to make the playoffs. There's a few races left, but not a lot. There'll be a UFC fight every now and then and some boxing matches. But right now is a really slow time to be a sports fan because the preseason games don't start till next week. I think the big thing this week is the Hall of Fame. The induction is going to happen this week. Over under, I think Ray Lewis is going to talk for an hour. I bet you they better put him last when these speeches come out, because he's going to go. I think Randy Moss's speech is going to be the most entertaining. Ray, you're going to have a lot of Jesus and a lot of church, and it can get lost in his story, because he does have a crazy story. His upbringing and everything else, and everybody knows about the thing that happened in Atlanta years ago. But I think Ray's going to be Jesus heavy, and Tara Owens isn't even going to be there, which I think is just I don't understand that at all. Regardless if you're mad that you weren't a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's been eligible for 3 years. It's still, once you're in, and it's not the guys that are in the Hall of Fame. It's not their fault that you weren't a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's writers and guys you might have burned. I think that for Tara Owens not to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, it's clear the writers were sending a message like, you treated us like shit, and now this is our way of getting back to you. But once you're in, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. It's basically you have a new team, and you got this these new teammates that you're in the Hall of Fame with. So I think he's making a mistake by not being there for that, because Terrell Owens would give an entertaining speech, and when he got voted in initially, I was most looking forward to his speech over everybody's, because I thought it could be a way for him to heal some of these wounds that he's got, but he's not even going to be there. I was like, so it kind of sucks. I think Urlacher's would be all right. I don't know a lot about Brian Urlacher, like his personality. It reminds me a lot of like when Troy Aikman got inducted in the Hall of Fame. Troy was crying and everything else, and I never saw that side of him when he played. So I'm anxious to see what Urlacher's speech is going to be like. And then Brian Dawkins will be good and a couple other guys. But Ray's going to be Jesus heavy, but I think Randy Moss is going to be the most entertaining. That's like the big news for this week. And then next week is when preseason football starts, and then it'll get exciting. But right now, it's kind of a slow time to be a sports fan. I think the biggest news this week was a few things. One, Jay-Z and Beyonce started their OTR2 tour, and then ex-President Obama and Michelle was at the concert. They was wilding too. They was in a suite, just wilding. I was just like, I don't think I've ever seen a president show up at a rap concert and just start wilding. Ex-president. I mean, could you see Jimmy Carter just showing up at a rap concert, or George Bush? I mean, Clinton had a little soul to him, because that's what slid up when Clinton. I can see Clinton at a rap concert, because I remember when he first was running back in '92, he got on Arsenio and he played the saxophone, and that pretty much solidified the black vote for Clinton right there. When he was playing the sax, I was like, oh, because that did twofold. That made Arsenio mainstream. Arsenio was already killing it, but it really blew Arsenio up. And then, Clinton, he pretty much solidified the black vote when he played that played the saxophone on Arsenio's show. But outside of that, a couple things happened. Here's the thing. There's celebrities, and then there's talented celebrities, and then there's internet celebrities. And there's this guy Boonk Gang out there. And I never understood what his goal was. Because and a lot of people, if you don't know who he is, he's a internet quote unquote celebrity. And what he does is just does wild shit. Like he'll go to like I saw him, he reached 1 million followers on Instagram, and he went to a Chick-fil-A, stood on the counter, grabbed a bunch of milkshakes, and started throwing them all over himself. And then he slid down the line where people order at Chick-fil-A. He put the milkshake all over it and then just slid in it because he got 1 million followers. That's not how I'm going to celebrate, because I should be at 1 million followers on Instagram next week, but I guarantee you ain't gonna see me do that shit. But then he'll do see he was in New York City, and he just jumped in this guy's you got those street vendors that sell purses or watches and stuff. Usually they're knockoff. He just jumped in the guy's stand and knocked it over, and then he took off running. And he's got an MO for doing just wild shit like that. It's not really a talent. It's just let me just do wild shit and see if people will follow me. And that's the thing about celebrity, man. It can be so intoxicating at times. You don't know really what you are or who you are anymore. Because every time I see this guy Boonk Gang, he's got another tattoo on his face. And then I'm like, when does he have time to get all these tattoos? Tattoos fucking hurt, man. And I got one on my back, and it's really small. Man, I thought I was going to die. I thought the dude shot me. I will never get another tattoo. That shit hurt. I always play it was on my shoulder blade. That's why it hurts so bad. It's right on my right shoulder, man. And it's small. Thing's about that big. It's small. It's tiny, 4 tiny letters. Probably took about 35, 40 minutes. Man, never again. That shit hurt. But to get it on your face, and then so what I'm getting at is Boonk Gang guy, he shot himself twice. And then he's live streaming it on his Instagram Live, his Facebook Live, whatever it was. He's live streaming, him in the car. You see the blood. He shot himself in his leg. I don't know where the other shot was. I just saw the one bullet wound. And then he's got pictures of him in the hospital, recovering. Then the next day, got a picture of him getting out of the hospital. It's I'll be all right. People get shot every day. And I'm just sitting here thinking, who's his circle and what's going on? He's clearly on numerous drugs. I don't know which one, because he was doing an interview. I don't know if it was a radio or a podcast interview. He couldn't even get up. He was staggering, and then his quote unquote friends, handlers, they're just kind of laughing with him, and then they got to hold him up. He's trying to take a picture with the guy he did the interview with. He can't even do that, and it's a train wreck. It's one of those things you're just not going to be shocked. when something happens and he passes away. Like, you're just not. And like I always say, man, like when XX Tentacion died, and I said, I guarantee you, whoever did this to him is under 25 years old. And sure enough, they caught all four. Well, they caught three guys. One guy's still on the run, but they know who all four guys are. They're all in their early 20s, all of them. And same thing. This Boonk Gang, young guy, and I'm saying you just got to get to 25, man. 25 years old, everything starts to make sense. And the same reason military, they don't go recruiting 30, 35-year-old men. They go recruiting young guys out of high school. And I think with this Boonk Gang, I think he's so caught up in checking his Instagram and how many followers. And I do it. I mean, I do it, but it's not, I don't do it thinking I'm less funny or oh, this is going to really help me with this, and this. You just look. You're just curious. Did I get any new followers? You know, when I do videos, I'm always curious to see how many views it gets, because it's almost like when a movie comes out, you check the numbers on the movie, and that's why they make you the number one movie in America, because more people saw it and you made the most money. But I think with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, you got a lot of people out there now that just want likes, they just want views, and I hate to quote historical figure, but it's almost like by any means necessary right now is what they'll do. I mean, this guy, Boonk Gang, he's already live streamed himself having sex. Like he basically was banging this chick from the back. And he says, you know what? Instead of enjoying this sexual experience, I'm gonna put my phone out and film myself doing it. That means sex to him is less important than views. That right there is an issue. Then he shoots himself, and what's he do? He starts live streaming from the car. Because I think the drugs got his mind fucked up, and the people around him is fucked up. I think everything about him right now is just fucked up. You know, he's like a guy like. I don't know what he's like in person, and if I ever met him, I don't know. I don't know what I do, but he's like a guy right now I don't want to be around at all. Like, he comes around like, I'll leave the room. I don't want no part of that. Because I do see him sometimes, he'll get on stage with some rappers. And I don't know if I guess he raps, because I guess he says he raps. I never heard any of his songs, but I see him at rap concert and he'll get on stage, you know? And the first he says is, you know, you motherfuckers ain't ready for Boonk Gang? You want to see Boonk Gang? And then let's like jump into the audience and make sure it's getting taped. So I know with being a celebrity, it can be very intoxicating, because I remember when I first got on TV and stuff, and you get stopped the first couple times. You're like, what? Like, I remember the first time I got on TV, it was BET's Comic View. I aired, and I'll never forget, I'm walking to the grocery store the day after it aired. It was a Ralph's in North Hollywood, and this young kid just stopped me. Hey, man, was you on Comic View last night? And I was like, yeah. I'm sitting there getting like cereal. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I remember my brain was like, oh shit, somebody saw it. And then I got stopped the second time, was like the day after that, I'm at the St. Louis airport, and I'll never forget, this girl and her friends walked up to ask for a picture. And I went, oh wow. And it becomes very, I don't know. It is a drug. Celebrity is a drug. And attention is a drug. I don't know. It does something to your brain where you want it more. You want it again. And I think with the internet, it's a blessing and a curse to a lot of people, because it's helped people. Like, let's look at someone like DC Youngfly, who was basically an internet guy, but he's been in a few movies now. He's on the road as a stand-up, and I've gotten to know him, and he's in it for the right reasons. Like, he didn't let his upbringing or his environment dictate how he was going to be successful. Some people, no matter what situations you put them in, they're going to make their way out. Something about their spirit, just their inner drive, they'll make it. And I think DC Youngfly is a guy, if you look at him and pattern his growth as just an entertainer, he's doing it the right way. He's surrounding himself with the right people. You know, he's from Atlanta. He made sure he's in with T.I. He's in good with T.I. And, I've worked with him on Hip Hop Squares, and I've run into him at the airports, and we had shows here in Oklahoma City. He's just whatever he's doing on the internet side. He started off with the "fuck you mean." That was like his thing, and he'd go after celebrities, deservedly so. It was like if you wore something ridiculous, he'd talk about you. If you did something ridiculous, he'd talk about you. But then some celebrities got upset, but most of them realized, oh, this is just a young kid having fun, goofing off, and he's got a lot of followers. So he was generating traffic to other celebrities. And so, but now to see where he's at in life, that's the route you want to take. The direction Boonk Gang's going is cemetery. And I don't know anybody that would really want to work with them. When you're talking about directors and producers and people in Hollywood, I don't know who would want to work with the guy, because I'm like, I don't want to be on set with that dude. You don't know what he's gonna do. Even when I had my reality show, I called up a couple of movie producers and asked them that I know. I said, "Yo, if I do this reality show, is it gonna cost me work as far as acting jobs?" And they all said, "Nah, as long as you don't come across as an asshole, people aren't going to be like, I don't want to work with him." They said, "But you're not an asshole, Gary." But if I went on TV and came across as like hard to work with and difficult, I don't know if then they was like, that might hurt you, but that's not what's going to happen. So now you're looking at this Boonk Gang guy. I'm like, I don't know who would want to work with him. He's pretty much, once you film yourself fucking and then you shoot yourself and you live stream that, I don't think anything's off limits with the guy. So, and especially he's made a name for himself, like just basically destroying other people's personal property and business. And I'm sure a lot of it's staged. I'm sure a lot of it is. I'm sure when he goes into restaurants and things like that, I'm sure they do that shit ahead of time. But shooting yourself in the sex tape, I think that's the drugs right now. I don't think he's in the right frame of mind, and the people around him aren't helping his situation at all. So if anybody needs to just take their phone away and get off social media for a month, is that dude. Just get away from it and just go somewhere away from everybody. And it's like when you go into rehab, and I've never done drugs, but I've had, my brothers, one brother passed away of a heroin overdose, and my other brother's in prison right now for using and dealing drugs. It's like the first thing they tell you when you go to the rehab is when you get out, you have to change people, places, and things around you. So you can't go back to the same area. You can't hang out with the same people because you're going to end up doing the same things. And with Boonk Gang, he needs to get rid of everybody in his circle right now. Everybody. Because, I think, and I see it in the black community more than anywhere else, is, I hear you forgot where you came from, or, you can't let go of the friends that were with you in the beginning. Yeah, you can. You can forget where you came from, and you can outgrow friends. It doesn't mean you're enemies. There's people that I'm around that I grew up with that I just outgrew. Friends that I had 10 years ago, we do different things now. And it doesn't mean you're better than them. It's just you went a different direction. And I think, and like I said, I see it more in the black community than anywhere else, where, black athletes, black celebrities, when they come up and they make it, quote unquote, make it, they tend to try to, I see black entertainers and athletes do it more so than any other culture or race. They tend to want to bring those guys with them that when they had nothing, to stay with them. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. LeBron James, it worked, but here's the thing. LeBron James had a good infrastructure coming up. He was around the right group of guys, the right friends. He hung, his best friend was the coach's son, and he just surrounded himself with the right people. Whereas Boonk Gang has clearly surrounded himself with the wrong people, And I remember Allen Iverson. There was big things about Allen Iverson when he first came in the league. He was bringing all those guys from Virginia that he grew up with. And there's a trust factor there. You got guys that were, when you're in lower income areas, and I can speak from guy that was raised in a trailer park, and with black people would be the projects. You need your neighbors. You need them. Like, you need your neighborhoods. You know, when you live in gated communities and big houses, and the houses are separated by big ass yards and land. I don't even know my neighbors right now. I mean, I know them, but I don't have dinner with them. I don't borrow sugar. I don't knock on their door. I just don't see them. And, when I grew up in a trailer park, though, you're right next to your neighbor. You're on top of each other. You see them every day. When there was one instance where I hear this argument in the trailer right next door to mine. All of a sudden, I see the girlfriend come jumping out the back door, flying, like almost like a witch. Woo! There was an argument, motherfucker, and then she just jumped out and started running. I'm sitting here like 10 years old, like, what the fuck was that? I wouldn't be able to hear my neighbors right now if they argued at all. But see, that's the difference when you're from a lower income area. White or black. White, I would say trailer park. Black, I would say projects. I was like, you need your neighbors. You need them, because that lady ran out of the back of the trailer, went to another trailer. Another friend she had in the trailer park. I ran away from home one time. I went a few times, but one time I ran to another guy's trailer that I knew. I was like, can I come over here? I had to make a phone call. This was before cell phones. I'm showing my age. But I knew my neighbors. I knew them. Now I don't. So I think with this Boonk Gang, god damn, man, I hate seeing people just self-destruct and we just watch it and let it happen. We're just sitting there watching it, and it's just a matter of time. The direction his life's going right now, it's not if, it's when. He's gonna overdose. He's gonna do something so stupid for likes and follows and views. He's gonna hurt. He's already hurt himself. Jesus Christ, he shot himself. Really close to his dick, by the way. I mean, if I'm gonna shoot myself, I'm not gonna do it by my dick. I mean, that's too close. I might do an arm if I'm gonna shoot myself. Like, do it right here in the shoulder, like you see in the dirty cops that do it, and then they in the movies. They'll set a crime scene up and we gotta act like this dude shot us, and they'll shoot each other in the arm. Nobody gets shot in the dick. Nobody. I thought he shot his dick off when I first saw it. I go, oh shit, somebody shot his dick off. And then come to find out it was right by it, right up here. I mean, I just don't like seeing it.
This episode of the Get Some podcast is brought to you by Haven Life. Haven Life Insurance Agency is changing the way you buy life insurance so that it's actually simple. They offer term life coverage issued by Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company that you can apply for online anytime, anywhere, and from any device. If you have people who depend on you, Haven Life is an easy, convenient, and affordable way to help financially protect them. For example, a 35-year-old man in excellent health could get a $500,000 20-year Haven term policy for around $21 a month. If you're looking for peace of mind and a simple way to check term life insurance off your to-do list, visit welcome.havenlife.com/GOGS. That's welcome.havenlife.com/GOGS. I'm going to get some right now.
And so then you got Boonk Gang. He's headed down a bad road. And then Demi Lovato overdoses. At first he said heroin, and now they're saying they're not sure what it is. It could be meth. I don't know. But I mean, she's had substance problems for a long time. And I think when you're in the entertainment business, so, and even this Boonk Gang is in the entertainment business. It's just the internet entertainment business. I think it's hard for me to put into words. Like with drug overdoses and like Boonk Gang, I think most of his problems is drug induced. It's entertainment it is a I don't know. You do. They always say you got to do a deal with the devil to be in the entertainment business, and that's not true. But it's a cold business, and you got to be thick. You got to have some thick skin to be in it. And if you're not, if you're not ready to be talked about, if you're not ready to be ridiculed, do not get in the entertainment business. because a lot of times that's what happens. It leads to these drug overdoses. You know, like your self-esteem is because, the shit I read about myself on the internet, I'm like, God damn, I ain't shit. And I remember, you know, when Demi Lovato overdosed this week, it reminded me of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Well, he overdosed a few years ago. I mean, talk about a guy that had everything. I mean, he's Oscar winner, got more money, knows what to do with, is a working actor, movie after movie after movie, still wasn't enough. And he was clean for years. And then what I had read was he had a glass of wine at like a movie premiere party. And that one glass of wine triggered all his addictive personalities in his brain. And he started using again off one glass of wine. And heroin's the worst. I mean, it's damn near impossible to get off that shit. But when you're talking about drugs and entertainment, it kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, I think, you know, people automatically assume, since I'm in the entertainment business, I've done drugs. I've smoked weed a few times. And even then, it wasn't like I was looking for it. One, I was with Snoop, and it was like a rite of passage. The joint got passed to me. And then, I think one other time I might have took a hit of a joint at something. But I've never done cocaine, mushrooms, any kind of opioid, nothing. And I've had it offered to me. I've had cocaine offered to me. Jesus Christ. If I go a month, it's offered to me at least 4 times in a month. I'm always amazed when somebody does cocaine in front of me and then like they don't even like worry about me telling somebody. The cocaine and weed smokers are some of the most generous people I've ever met in my life when they want to share it. I had one guy, I was at a football game, and we took a limo to the game. This had to be 10 years ago. I was in Tampa, Florida. This guy just hops in the back of the limo, was a friend of a friend's, and then starts doing cocaine right in front of me, and then just looks up at the middle of the store and goes, "Oh, my fault, man. You want some?" Not my fault. I didn't know you were in the car. My fault. I don't know if you approve of this. My fault. He felt selfish that he was doing cocaine in front of me. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. But, I think self-esteem has a lot to do with it. When people start using drugs, especially in the entertainment business, and that's why I think there's so many suicides also in entertainment. Because I keep going back to Boonk Gang. To me, with everything he's doing, he's crying out for help. He's just saying, dude, I'm lost right now. And the drugs, they take away all that insecurity, pain, everything you're going through, it takes it away. Because I remember my brother who died of a heroin overdose, he said, I said, "Hey, man, Dow, are you chasing the high?" Because what I've heard is the first time you do like heroin, it's just such a high, and you keep chasing that again. And that's why you keep using. And my brother went, "Oh, no, it's good every time." The way he said it, he was like, "Oh, no, it's good every time." It was almost like, whoa, what the fuck? I mean, I can't even tell you the way his voice changed and his demeanor. His face just changed when he was like, "Oh, nah, man, it's good every time." I was like, it has to be. Why do people keep using heroin? If you see what it can do to you, you see these videos of people just slumped over their cars, out in the streets, just laid out. What would make you do that? And I think 2 things. One, it takes away from all your problems, all your issues, all your unhappiness. And I don't know where it takes you as far as your brain goes, what kind of state it puts you in, but it has to be a motherfucker if you're going to keep doing it. And I think boredom, I think when a lot of the white kids when they start using, now it's a nationwide epidemic. The heroin's been in the black community for years, and it was an epidemic. And I think people just looked at it was a ghetto problem. It wasn't an American problem. It was just that's the ghetto. I ain't worried about that. Now that heroin is like suburb white person problem, now it's an epidemic. And I think a lot of the white kids that do it in small towns are just bored. Like they don't see a bigger picture. When you're in a small town in like Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Kentucky, Indiana, that's your whole world. You don't ever leave that town, and you just stay there. And I think a lot of them guys and girls, they get bored and they just like, let's try it. We ain't doing nothing else. And then next thing you know, they're hooked and they're addicted. And I know I'm rambling. I'm kind of all over the place. It's just because I get on a tangent when it comes to heroin, just because it's so close to home with me. And when I saw Demi Lovato overdose, I just went, oh, fuck. I just was like, here's a chick who's a successful singer, and she's had problems in the past, but I thought she had gotten past it and beaten it because she was singing about it and she would talk about it and write about it. And usually I think that's a healthy thing to do when you had that experience. Just like when guys go into rehab and they get out, they get a sponsor. And a good sponsor is one that's an ex-addict because they know what you're going through. And it gives you someone to talk to, and it's an outlet. And I think when you're a singer, when you talk about it and write about your problems, it's therapeutic. And the fact that Demi Lovato was talking about it and singing about it, I thought, okay, she's on the right track. And then, boom, comes out this week. She overdosed. I don't know. Clearly, whatever's going on in her life is not fulfilling her, that she feels she's good enough by herself, that she doesn't need anything. And god dang, I don't know what Boonk Gang's on. I have no idea. I have no idea. It could be meth, heroin, cocaine, weed. I think he's got a mix of stuff. Syrup, I think he's got a mix. A lot going on in his system. And I think a lot of people go to drugs because of depression. I mean, you know, it reminded me of not drugs, but talking about celebrity suicides. Because basically, when you're shooting up heroin, it's Russian roulette. You kind of know you might commit suicide every time you put a needle in your arm. I remember God, I don't know his name, and this probably went under the radar to a lot of people that didn't notice this. There was a guy that was in 8 Mile, and he was in the Antoine Fisher Story. In the Antoine Fisher Story, this guy played Antoine Fisher's best friend from Cleveland when he was a kid. And then in 8 Mile, he was one of Eminem's guys. He wasn't the white guy. He wasn't the big black guy. He was the other guy. Had kind of a long face. He's from Dayton, Ohio. And I remember he was on a show called The It Factor in like 2000. And they were following him because they thought he had it. They followed like 8 actors and actresses who they thought had it. And it was like on Bravo when Bravo didn't have any viewers. And he was on it because he had 8 Mile coming out. And then I saw he was from Dayton. And I was rooting for this guy. And then he had a Sprite commercial. And then he didn't have anything for a couple years. They found him hung in an abandoned building, killed himself. And all his friends said he was dealing with depression because he got all this work at once. He got 2 hit movies back to back, and then, you know, slow for a second. Then he got a major Sprite commercial, which is big money. You get a campaign like that, and then nothing. And they just found him. Like, this was like, God, way over 10 years ago. They just found him, and they didn't know where he was for like 3 days. He was missing, and then they found him in an abandoned building, and he hung himself dealing with depression. And you know, he probably didn't turn to drugs. He probably just went, that's it. And that's what I'm saying. This entertainment business is a motherfucker, man. I mean, I'm glad I'm a stand-up because I was thinking, damn, if I was just in Hollywood and trying to make it just as an actor, even a comedic actor, that'd be tough, man. Because you get told no. Here's the thing about Hollywood. You never get told no. You don't get told shit. You do an audition. They never call you and tell you why you didn't get the part. They never call and say no. They just don't call. So you might do the best audition of your life thinking, man, I crushed that shit, and never hear nothing. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes of why you did or did not get it. It's just, that's why I say in entertainment, they always say, you get told no a lot. I go, no, you don't. You never get told no. You only get told yes. And when the yes comes, it erases all those no's. But yeah, that guy, God damn, I wish I should have. I'm gonna pull up his name real quick. Yeah, I just remember I was so shocked by it because I was following him from afar on everything because he was a hometown guy. He was Dayton. You know, anytime I see Cincinnati, Dayton, even Northern Kentucky, I always pull for those people, man. Those are hometown guys. Josh Hutcherson, of the Hunger Games, George Clooney, all those guys. 8 Mile, 2002. I'm gonna pull it up right now. The guy's name was D'Angelo Wilson. D'Angelo Wilson, Dayton, Ohio. He passed away, November 26, 2008, 29 years old. Damn. 10 years ago. Damn, he died on my son's birthday. That's crazy. Born in Dayton, Ohio, best known for 8 Mile, Antoine Fisher. Both came out in 2002. And then he did The Salon in 2005. Had a few episodes of CSI New York. And then The It Factor. Okay, The It Factor came out in 2003. And I used to watch this show every week in season 1. And they were right. They picked some good look at this. Jeremy Renner was on it. I remember Jeremy Renner. And they were following him because he had this Dahmer movie coming out. And they followed Lisa Ray because she had the Players Club, but then she hadn't done anything major since the Players Club. She had some small parts, but nothing major. God, all these other people that they have, I haven't heard of. Crystal Harris, what was she? She was, I remember her from Indiana. Yeah, she hadn't really done anything. But I remember Jeremy Renner was on the show, The It Factor. Lisa Ray and D'Angelo were the three that I followed. Jeremy Renner just had something about him. I just remember that when they were following him, he lived in an apartment with his dog, and his power was cut off, and he was like, he was like lighting candles, and he had this Dahmer movie getting ready to come out, and he looked just like Jeffrey Dahmer, and it was a little independent movie that didn't do anything at the box office, but it was critically acclaimed. And that's what got him working. That's what really got him going. D'Angelo Wilson. That's crazy. 2000. I knew my dates were right. So, I mean, just think about this guy. He comes to Hollywood. I bet you, and I don't know, I bet you he got Antoine Fisher in Cleveland. Because that looked like one of them local hire type jobs. Because the part wasn't too big. And they were probably just casting people out of Cleveland, Columbus, Dayton area to come and do, because they do that sometimes with, a lot of times at movies, they have a lot of local hires for the smaller parts. And I bet you that's what did it. And then, hell, 8 Mile was a Detroit movie. He might have got both movies out here, out in Ohio. Or he might have been in LA. But I just remember that one stung me a little bit because I noticed him, and he's in two great movies that I really liked. I mean, Antoine Fisher and 8 Mile, jeez. I mean, Antoine Fisher, that hit home for me so much just because of I was ex-Navy, home life wasn't the best. I was like, God. And then I remember reading a story about, I told you, my podcast, I'd be rambling. I read a story of how Derek Luke, who got the part as Antoine Fisher, I heard he was a gate guard, like security on one of the lots. And then Antoine Fisher, the Antoine Fisher that wrote it, said, yo, I'm gonna bring you in for an audition, man, because he got to know Derek just being a security guy on the lot. And Derek told me he was, actor, so he got him the audition, and he auditioned for Denzel Washington, who was the director and also in the movie. So, and I guess Derek went in and never said that he knew Antoine. He never said anything about that. He just went and auditioned, got called back, auditioned again, and then I heard Denzel was so impressed that he didn't try to use any nepotism or favoritism to get the part. And like, hey man, Antoine got me this audition, and I know Antoine. He just came in, did his thing, and then he was back working the guard. He was at the guard shack or on the waving cars on the lot, and Denzel pulled up with Antoine, and he said, "Hey man," or I think it might have been just Antoine by himself, because how they initially go, it went good, man. I think it went really good, man. Yeah. And Antoine goes, did you hear anything? He goes, no, I haven't. And I think Denzel came out, and I don't know if he's in Antoine's car or came up behind him, and they surprised him, and they said he got the part, and they said he just started bawling, just started crying right there. Because if you get the lead in a movie and Denzel's a director, and when I think a lot of times there's scripts out there that Hollywood knows, whoa, this is a good script, and whoever gets this part is going to be working. You're working the gate, you're a freaking security guard, then you get a major motion picture and Denzel's a director, and it's a buzz about it all through Hollywood. I'm like, dude, I mean, how do you not cry? You're like, dude, not that I made it and it's over with, but oh my God, I'm gonna start getting offers for movies now and other roles. I'm not gonna have to do the open casting call auditions, because man, you can get lost in the shuffle and that stuff. And ever since then, Derek Luke's been working. Antoine Fisher, that movie is the sole reason me and my wife moved back to Ohio, and back in like 2004, because we had 2 kids, both in diapers. Or we got my oldest son Emilio, but we had our 2 kids. They were both in diapers, and we had no help, and we didn't have friends that you could just babysit and come over like that. And I went and saw the movie, the Antoine Fisher story. I came back to my wife, you gotta go see this movie. It's pretty good. My wife left to go see it and came back, and then we got to discuss it afterwards. So I went and saw a movie without your kid. I come home. Now my wife's got both kids. I said, gotta go see this movie. So now I'm watching both kids at the house. She goes to see Antoine Fisher. Then she comes back, and then we talked about it, and I went, what the fuck are we doing? We can't even go see a movie together. And we got kicked out of one. We tried to sneak our... She was pregnant with our daughter Kennedy, and then Austin was just born, so she was holding him, but he was kind of tiny. We tried to sneak him into a movie theater one time to go see Barbershop. And I remember she was like holding him real close, and like my daughter was in her stomach, so it was kind of sticking out. And we paid to see the movie, and the girl got greedy, went to the popcorn stand and the concessions to get some food. And they go, is that a baby? Oh, there's no babies in the movie theater. And I was like, ah. And the thing about it was, I get it. I got the rule. We weren't mad, but our kids never cried, so that we knew they weren't going to cry. I mean, she always told me her oldest Emilio, I wasn't around when Emilio was a baby. He never cried. Our son Austin never cried. And then when our daughter came out, she never cried. Our daughter cried for 4 hours straight after she was born, and then never cried again. And same with my son. We didn't have babies that cried. It just didn't. I mean, obviously when they was hungry and shit like that, but they rarely just start crying for no reason. They were so easy at night, everything. They liked going to sleep. Dude, my daughter used to love to go to sleep. Like, time for bed, let's go. All she wanted was a sippy cup and a blanket. My sippy cup, my blanket, go right to sleep. Never seen nothing like it. Like, it was like we was going to an amusement park. Come on, okay, time for bed. Okay. She would get out of the bathtub, got a little, the onesie zip up that you put on a kid. I wish those things would never go out of style. I wish you could wear them as an adult, because your feet go in it. It's one zipper that goes up your leg, all the way up your stomach, and goes right here. And then you're just engulfed in this one piece of cloth, and your hands come out. Yeah, so I know this podcast is all over the place. It happens like that, but I get sidetracked, and my ADHD kicks in when I start seeing people going down the wrong path, because it always reminds me of my brother. Always, every time I see it, I live through that with my brother. Not to the extent what Boonk Gang's doing, but but Demi Lovato, and I just, it takes me to a place where I'm like, it's when you're not on the stuff, when you're not on heroin or meth or any of that shit, when you're thinking with a clear mind, it's just, it's not easy, but it's so clear how to get off of the stuff if you do these things. And I always say the only thing I can relate it to is I have a sweet tooth, and even though I'll be working out and eating right and stuff, every now and then I'll sneak a piece of cake, or I'll sneak a Reese cup, and I'll be like, nobody saw it, so I didn't do it. And that's the only thing I can relate it to as far as like heroin addicts and meth addicts is, they're like, yeah, I'm clean, I'm good. You know what? I'm just gonna do this one hit. I'm just gonna do this one more time, and then I'm done. And you see these TV shows and everything. Somebody's going to go into rehab and they're like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to get high one last time and then I'll be ready to go into rehab. And it never works out like that. And that's the only thing I can relate it to is my sweet tooth with that stuff. So, all right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. This is another episode of the Gary Owen Get Some podcast. If you want to listen to my podcast, just go to iTunes, search Gary Owen, #Get Some.